What do you remember of your earliest years?
My earliest years was when I lived in Pocatello, Idaho, and I'm trying to think how old I would have been. About 6 years old, 7 maybe. And
What school did you go to?
What were you going to tell
I just
us?
remember going to school one day and I told the teacher I wouldn't be coming anymore. And my mother didn't want to hear me say that because it wasn't true. I just didn't want to go to school anymore.
So you just informed him you're not coming.
Another crazy one that happened was that my mother didn't know where I was. She had lost track of where I was. And so she was looking up and down the street, and she's going to neighbors and the people, where's my daughter? I can't find her. And she even called the police to see if they had seen me. And this went on all day until I woke up. I slept underneath the bed, and when I woke up, that's when they found me. So I've just always done a lot of crazy things. So I think Mother was a little angry. Yeah, angry, but also relieved that I didn't get kidnapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also my mother's sister lived across the river. It's where her family was.
What river?
It was a fairly big river. But anyway, my mother wondered where I was. This is another Shirlene thing. And she went over to my aunt's place, and my mother called on the phone to tell my mother that she was there, and mother took another fit, mad about it, because that's pretty dangerous for a 6-year-old to crossing a big river. It was big, yeah.
Who did you get along with and who didn't you?
I didn't get along with Lois very well.
Why?
Well, I thought that I should be liked better than her because I was a little older than her. How about that one?
How did that go?
Oh, yeah. Mother tried to explain all that. Everybody's everybody.
How did you interact with your siblings?
I think that most of the time we got along. My brother, I never got along with him when we were both grown and married. He was kind of different in it, yeah. Oh, Barbara was a cute little girl. She was quite special. I do remember my dad taking Barbara out of church because she was crying and, not wanting to be there. And so he went out and was walking on the street with her, carrying her. And somebody came up and they said, there's going to be a war. We've all got to get somewhere and hide. Well, that was a kind of a funny way to say it, but the war had started that very day. Oh, high school.
Mm-hmm.
Who were your friends?
My friends were Carol Dean.
Carol Dean?
Carol Dean, that's her first name. Barney was her last name. They lived down the street from us in Vallejo. And as I was growing up, we were We were very good friends. We were together a lot. Actually, I know when she died, and I wrote a letter to her husband, and that was the last of, knowing where she was and who she was.
Yeah.
My dad was the sweetest man in the world. He was always just real kind, and when he talked to you, it was, even if it was something that upset him, he would calm me down, and he wouldn't want to spank you or anything. But his family, my dad's family, weren't that way. They were kind of mean to their kids.
Is this the Warfords?
Yeah, I guess that would be it. Yeah. Other friends that I had at school, most of them, they were only friends while we were at school. But like that one girl that was on the street, we played together. We played hopscotch and things like that. And then one day when I was there, her dad was reading the Bible, and he started talking to me like, I kind of got scared because he said, "Your church isn't true," that kind of thing, and made me upset, But I still could play with her. He didn't tell me I couldn't. But I thought that he was kind of a mean dad for her.
Mm.
Yeah.
And of course, my dad, he just always kind and
Yeah.
let me do things if they're good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was junior in high school, I guess, the year before I was a senior, yeah. And I went on dates, and a lot of them weren't Mormons because we're outnumbered. But we had friends at church, and they always had parties and dances, and so that was good. Okay. When I met Paul, one day in church, I was sitting in front of some boys. They were military. They were coming
Sailors.
from Mare Island over, and they decided to go to that particular church just because it was there. And he sat right behind me, and he started kind of kicking the back of my chair. And then it was funny. It was fun. But he kind of leaned over and he said, "You've got big feet." I had very little feet in those days. He said, "You've got big feet." Then he's laughing. Oh, what kids will do. I mean, that's Paul when he was just a little older than me. But from there on, I think the next Sunday, I invited him to dinner at our house.
You did.
I did. I talked to my mother about it first. But my mother liked him, and he came to my house a lot when he could. And it turned out good. I think I liked him more for his personality than I did the dazzling of the military, but yeah.
Didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt, yeah. And he was going to be through with his, what do you call it, when you're through with your military assignment. Anyway, he was going to be released from it within a couple of months. And so by then, we were talking about getting married. And
What year was this?
1931, is that right?
You were
No.
born in 31.
31 is when I was born.
So
I
you
was
were
born in-
17.
I was born in 51.
So add 17 to 31.
48.
1948.
Sounds right.
So my mother and dad took me up to Idaho, Utah. Yeah. So we could. I wanted to get married in the Salt Lake Temple, and so that's what we did. And
What do you remember about your marriage day?
oh, it was always good. Paul was just always happy and kind and just perfect. I remember we went to get his suit to wear to the wedding. I've got a picture of he and I, and the suit was too big on him. It was just a little bit on the shoulders and all. Of course, it didn't bother me then, but it bothered me after I got married and realized how bad that suit was.
Yeah.
And maybe most people wouldn't have noticed it, but yeah, we rented a house that's close to downtown. It was just a block up from downtown. We went to Salt Lake because I didn't want to go to the Logan Temple. And Paul's dad said, "What in the world? Why do you have to go clear to Salt Lake? We've got a temple here."
Yeah.
And I said, "Because I've always wanted to be married in the Salt Lake Temple, and that's what we're going to do." That was a real nice day. They took pictures and just the usual.
Did you have many guests?
Not a lot, because of him being. Oh, he was from. Where was he from?
He was
Logan.
Oh yeah, he was from Logan, and then I was from California. Yeah, but there weren't. It was just mostly Paul's family, his parents and his brothers and sisters. That's about. Well, some of them didn't go to the temple because they were too young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we did get together that day. Yeah, we had a party, and then we were all packed up, ready to go up north somewhere just to take a trip, and that'd be our honeymoon. I guess we went clear to, what is the park called up there?
Yellowstone?
Yellowstone. Before that, while we were still at their house, they kidnapped me. His friends kidnapped me. Just for jokes. Took me in their car and made me think that I wasn't going to be able to see Paul that night. And I finally talked him out of it. And they knew where Paul was, but I didn't until then.
Jeez.
Just kind of kid stuff, really. And I worked in the library at the school for a while. I got another job outside the school that paid more money, that kind of thing. That's how we got started. We went to Ogden, I could remember,
1955.
yeah, that's quite a bit after we got married.
Yeah.
There's something lost there somewhere. That my dad didn't get involved too much. except for my brother. Sometimes he got upset with my brother.
Any episodes between you and Bob that you recall?
Oh, we probably fought a lot. Or not, well, maybe not a lot, but I just didn't do things with him much.
Kids.
I could
Okay.
tell you a little
right.
story about Barbara.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
One time we were downtown and we parked in the car, and some black people came walking by, and Barbara started saying things about the Negro, and just kept talking about it. And the windows were down on the car, and my mother said, "Don't say that thing. You're supposed to be nice to them." And so here came some more coming, and she said, Mother said to be nice and always talk nice. And she said, Barbara said, "One day I saw a nigger," and she felt like she was saying it nice so that the Negro wouldn't care. But she said, Mother just had a fit. The first school was in Pocatello.
Name of the school?
Huh?
The name of the school, do you remember?
Oh, I won't remember.
Okay.
Vallejo High School is the only one I remember the name of.
Mm-hmm.
But, we moved around a lot when I was real young. So there's some places I don't even remember there. I actually met a boy that I liked real well, and we'd always have lunch together in the cafeteria, and he was from Northern California. He was older than me. Vallejo High School had 2 years after that. What would they have called that? He had already graduated from high school, but he'd gone through to the next step.
Which was it?
And it was a college, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was a nice boy, but he taught me how to drive.
When did you leave Logan? And why?
Paul got a job in Salt Lake, I believe. And we lived out, would it have been west of Salt Lake? Anyway, we rented a house. I remember that I was asked to have a church job, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was teaching a class. That's probably what it was. But I was quite a kid myself.
Do you remember when you moved to 9th Street in Ogden?
Yeah, after Salt Lake, yeah. We moved to Salt Lake in between there, I think. Between houses.
So you had another house in Salt Lake.
I think we must have.
Hmm. Those were all rentals, were they?
Yeah, we never did buy any house, I think. At least, maybe when I start thinking about it.
Well,
When we started buying houses.
Was the 9th Street home the first one you purchased?
Giant Street.
Ogden?
In Ogden, oh. Could be, yeah.
Do you remember anything about moving there? Or?
Yeah.
Tell us about
I
it.
was pregnant.
With who?
Yeah, that would have been Shanna.
Yeah.
And we lived on 9th Street. I got in on the party lines. Oh, that was Paul's mother's house. Whenever you pick up a phone in Paul's mother's house, you end up with somebody talking to you that wasn't even who you wanted to talk to, and there people would get on it and not ever get off.
That baby you lost, was that in between Jana and Randy? Was that the second?
Oh, when we
baby?
moved to Ogden, I was still carrying her.
Yeah.
I had been born, and she was carrying a little girl.
I could tell that the baby was starting to come, and there was a gas station across the street, and I opened the window and yelled and tried to get somebody's attention, and finally somebody did come, and I told him to call the fire engine or whatever, something to pick me up to take me to the hospital, but she died, when she was born.
Is it true that you love Jana more than me?
You're rude. Oh.
We used to get in scratching, hair-pulling fights.
Mom loves you more. No, I don't love me more.
She loves me more than you, huh? Well, I had a son that got in trouble for lighting matches.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's the same house that we were
Well, we set some vacant lot on fire, didn't we?
There was behind our house. There were other houses, but behind our house was open. I mean, like no house had been built there. And I called the fire department.
And where was I when the fire department came?
In the closet in the house.
What was I saying?
I don't remember that. You gotta tell me.
Don't tell him, Mom. Don't tell him, Mom. Don't tell him, Mom.
You thought you were gonna be taken
Oh,
to jail.
I thought I was toast.
Okay. How did Jana and Kent get along? Do you remember them?
They got along if they didn't ever talk to each other.
We moved from 9th Street to Henderson Drive.
Okay.
So the Henderson Drive house was quite a step up from 9th Street. As far
I'm trying
as...
to think of Henderson Drive. Oh, that's when we lived on the edge of the hill.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a real nice house. Had it built.
You had
The
it.
builder lived down the street.
Yeah.
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 I think it was Paul's idea. I said, well, we've got 4 kids, let's stop there. And he kept badgering me and saying, you've got to have that last kid.
Mike.
Mm-hmm. And then that after he was born was when you broke your leg
Skiing.
skiing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that ski accident?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
Well,
What was happening?
Alice Beaner and I were up on the slopes, and my ski caught on something, and it twisted my leg, and I had a broken leg. And somehow we had somebody that was skiing past us make a phone call for us.
It was a compound fracture, as I recall.
It was pretty bad, yeah. I had the thing on clear through the next summer, year after.
Oh, so that was a cast, right?
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah, it was a long time. I got so I just didn't care. It was okay.
I know you got really good at stopping Mike from crawling places by
Oh, yeah.
putting your crutch in front of him.
Exactly. Yeah, I better write that down. Yeah.
What do you remember about your eldest son meeting a girl that he liked?
I thought it was exciting. I liked you and I liked her. Yeah.
I remember some stern moments trying to keep us apart. Well, at least
What?
temporarily. Some stern moments when you wanted us to not be together all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
we got
probably true.
serious awfully fast. Yeah.
Yeah. What prompted me to go on a mission, do you know?
I think it was just a matter of that's what we should do. That's kind of my attitude was, yeah.
Because not a lot of young men went in those days.
You know, later on, I guess a lot more would go.
Yeah.
Well, you had a girlfriend who expected it.
And I don't ever remember being forced. I had always anticipated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember feeling like I had to push it into that.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it. Especially after you got your patriarchal blessing, I think you felt that way.
Yeah.
Just off the top of your head, what was your favorite trip?
Usually the very last one you went on.
What was the last big trip you went on?
It was to, let's see, I was with Jana and was
And
the
Holly.
was- Holly, yeah.
Yeah.
We went to Italy. We went to a couple other countries and I can't remember what they were.
Well,
Italy and we went to a lot of different places. We'd get a car driver for us, and boy, they were really nice people. Just yeah. I think we had three different times when we used a car, and the driver took us and waited if we wanted to stop and go look at something.
That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that last trip we took.
Yeah.
The things.
Why did you go on a mission?
We felt like we should. It was just what we decided to do, the two of us. Yeah. When we got there, we figured we were going to be in Hong Kong. We had an apartment where all set up. A couple came in the office and said that they wanted to go home. In fact, Paul and I talked about it because we thought they were going to go home.
Mm.
And so we thought, well, if we take it, then they'll have what they wanted.
Yeah.
And
So you actually volunteered to be the solution.
Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be better than if we'd been right in Hong Kong all the time. It was really a good mission.
In the Philippines.
In the Philippines, yeah.
Do you remember any highlights of that mission? Any personal experiences with people?
Well, we're in the Philippines, and there's a little girl who had problems with her. What would you call it when they can't walk and can't get around? We saw her a lot, and we took her places, and anyway, we ended up wanting to keep her and send her with us to the United States, and they would allow it. The people in the Philippines,
The country.
head guys, they would, she's in this country and that's where she's going to stay.
As
But we had it all set up with a doctor here and everything, and we thought it was going to work, and it didn't. It was really sad. And then we got I think it was a phone call. It wasn't just somebody that lived. It was somebody that lived there, called us and told us that she had died. It was just heartbreaking. The little girl died. Now see, if we had taken her, she would have had good care and all that, and it was a heartbreaker.